And welcome. This is Mary Ellen McGonagle with your Friday afternoon MEM Edge show, the show where we put you in front of where the action is in the broader markets, and certainly a bit bumpy ride here for growth stocks this week, but some other rotation taking place. So lots that we can cover as always. First up, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the broader markets. We want to see where we stand. Are the markets in a good place for you to put money to work? Also, we'll drill down as usual beyond that and take a look at where the current strength is. As always, that's where you want to be positioned so that you can take advantage. We are also going to take a look at some of these alternative energy stocks. They certainly did spring to life. They've been kind of bubbling up, if you will, but last week I would argue came to life, so to speak. And then also a look at the metaverse. The concept, certainly with Facebook changing their name to Meta, has been out there, but this is another area that really, I would say, came to life last week as well. So we're going to take a look at underlying stocks within both of those areas. It's all about this cutting edge, newer technology, and I think it's super exciting to see the progress and certainly the evolution taking shape. And then what's up with semiconductor stocks? And that's an area that we are going to spend a little bit of time. The group is up, well, it was up 9% last week and up about 1.5% this, but lots going on. So I'll share with you some intel as it relates to semis, another strong area. And then also some of the news items this week. And we did see a lot in the way of super high inflationary indications. First up, we did see the producer price index at a 30-year high, followed by consumer price index, and this is for October. Both areas surged, so we are seeing super high as it relates to, I'm sure we're all feeling it as well, prices increase, and that's certainly not particularly great for certain areas of the market with inflation. Today, we did see consumer sentiment, and it sunk to a 10-year low, a little unexpected, but this again was all about consumers and inflationary fears as they are seeing pricing rise in the way of groceries up 30% in some cases and so on. So again, inflation up there front and center. And then also a report regarding September, a record number of workers quit. And this, if we do see, it's something that is going to increase wage pressure, and we have seen it. We may very well continue to see it. And yet again, another inflationary aspect to the markets. So as we move on, I'll share with you areas that can be impacted based on historical precedent. But again, it's all a case of whether the inflation, do investors believe it's transitory or here to stay? And then next week, we have retail sales. That's going to build on that consumer sentiment number as we head into the holidays. Industrial production and housing data is up next week. So let's go ahead from here. We want to take a look at where the broader markets ended for the week. I'm sharing with you a daily price chart of the S&P 500. So we did get a little bit of wobbliness, and that's kind of putting it nicely. It did get a little touchy there for growth stocks Tuesday and into Wednesday, but the markets firmed up quite a bit. And then actually, of course, my work with my MEM Edge report, I do focus on growth stocks. I want to get subscribers in front of those faster moving names. And we did see particularly large cap growth stocks firm up into the close. So quite constructive there. As it relates to the S&P, we can see this relative strength indicator. That's a momentum indicator up here in positive territory. We pulled back nicely from an overbought position. And then the stochastics, a faster moving momentum indicator, also up here in positive territory as well. And I do mention the S&P closing back above that 10-day simple moving average. So net, we did end the week in a very constructive manner. So from here, let's go ahead. We're going to take a look at the S&P 500 11 sectors, and I've gone ahead. This is a 2-month daily price chart view that you can get on StockCharts called Candle Glance. And what I like to do is add this RSI, that's a relative strength indicator, and then go ahead and sort these sectors by that relative strength. And this is something that I do each week. It is really worth the only rather couple of minutes of effort, because again, it's going to, if you do this regularly, you will be able to spot rotation as these groups move in and out of favor. So let's take a look. XLB up here in the forefront, it was up quite a bit more than the broader markets. This is the materials sector. A lot of that is gold. Certainly other commodity related stocks and areas are on the move, but certainly gold as it relates to an inflationary hedge, we're seeing a move into that. And then nice to see technology up here in the forefront. It did fare better than the markets, not by a huge market amount, but certainly enough to keep the technology sector in a very nice uptrend. And of course, that's where your faster moving stocks are going to be housed. So then from here, as we drill down, a couple of areas that I did want to share with you, we did see discretionary stocks pull back 3.5% this week. I would argue that was Tesla's very healthy 16%, the pullback that Tesla, and that's going to have a lot of bearing. The other area in discretionary that really pulled back this week were all of those travel, cruise related airline type stocks on the Pfizer COVID pill news last week. They really sank back into what I would call reality, because the numbers aren't quite there for those stocks. And then as we move on, let's just take a look here at some of these other languishing areas, because energy had been for many weeks up there in the forefront on that upper left quartile, where we now see materials. Energy is not trending downward by any means, but it has lost that upside momentum. You can use this moving average convergence divergence MACD to confirm what you may be sensing in your energy stocks. If you are in that area, longer term prognosis is still constructive, but near term, the stocks, as I said, that upward push seems to have receded. Likewise with financials, the energy and financials had been up in the forefront for 5 weeks, and now they are down here, not again in downtrends, but we are seeing newer areas coming up here into the forefront. So from here, I like to then go ahead and drill down even further than those sectors. I want to see some of the industry groupings. I like to look at software and semiconductors, because that's where, again, those outside moves can come. Also, we're going to look at bank stocks. Gold is in here, the NASDAQ, and so forth. So again, that RSI here, descending order. And let's take a look up here. And this is an area that I plan on taking a closer look with you. This is SOXX Semiconductor Index. And this is an area that the earnings have just been really outstanding. Semiconductor stocks have in their third quarter actually hit a record high as it relates to shipments, and their earnings numbers for Q3 so far, they're 27% year over year, and Q2 it was 7% as far as the overall semiconductor sales. So hopefully you can see the really big shift as far as growth in that particular area. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look, because when we are looking at certain areas such as bank stocks, you do want to just keep an eye on the 10-year Treasury. And there was a holiday on Thursday, so we didn't see the trading there, but we did get this spike. So we are seeing interest rates closing the week at about 1.58. trending certainly upward relative to where they were. So I'm going to be taking a closer look at that group, that area, with my MEM Edge report over the weekend. So those of you that are subscribers, keep an eye out for that, as well as deep dives into other areas as well. We can see also, what I wanted to share with you is software stocks close the week in positive territory. So as we move forward, I will be sharing some names in the software space, just by nature of what we are going to be covering from here. So let's not waste a minute, because I did want to start out by talking about some of the electric vehicle alternative energy as it relates to vehicles and elsewhere on the rise. So first up here is Rivian Automotive, RIVN. They came out with their IPO on Wednesday to great fanfare. So really kind of setting the stage, if you will, for this move back into these electric vehicle stocks. And it doesn't hurt that Biden's infrastructure plan that passed through Congress does have an allowance for the adoption that's going to be needed for electric vehicle for wider acceptance. So let's go ahead from here and take a look at a couple of other names. These are going to be certainly better known to the broader audience or public, if you will. This is General Motors, GM, and take a look, breaking out of a nice lengthy base. I'm just going to mark this up here. And certainly they've been very involved in the electric vehicle. They are at the forefront as far as the conversion, if you will. But they did have news this week. Their Cadillac SUV electric vehicle, they are partnering with a Chinese firm to introduce to that very large marketplace. So what we can see here is that General Motors is breaking out of about a 5-month base. And the relevance here is historical precedence tells us the longer your base, the longer your potential breakout out of that base. And we can see this MACD just emerging from a lower level. Let's take a look at a couple of other well-known names in this area. And next up is Ford. Ford came out in late October with their numbers. This is that gap up here. And it's been in a very nice, it pulled back a little bit this week, but certainly acceptable given the advance for such a large cap company. They are also at the forefront as it relates to putting capital toward their EV evolution, if you will. And then also in reporting last here in late October, their earnings were about 90% above estimates. And then also the company announced that they're repurchasing $5 billion of their junk bonds. So they're really cleaning up that balance sheet. So lots of good news there. We can also take a look at a Chinese EV company. This ticker is EPEV or XPEV, and it's Xpeng. And this company also came out with news relative to a new SUV truck. Not as engaging here, kind of trying to break out of this flat base here for the month, but other names here that we can certainly take a look at. HYZN, it's not going to look attractive at this point in time as far as the chart, but it does bear a look. The company did come out with news that they have seen orders for their hydrogen fuel cell trucks, and we can see that they are in the throes. Now, really, I am not sure why I'm showing you this chart. It's not that attractive. You know, when you see this gap down on such huge volume, any kind of reversal attempt is just going to be so much more difficult. So let's go ahead and move on. Take a look at a better known, more attractive chart. Certainly is Ferrari. RACE is the ticker symbol, another company that came out with very strong earnings. The stock is on, or the company is on pace to record a record year in revenues. Now, as it relates to electric vehicles, currently they are only hybrid, but they are anticipating over the next 2 years to be releasing a fully electric vehicle. Morgan Stanley has highlighted the company as their top pick in the electric vehicle space, primarily because of the company's expertise technologically, their sleek lines, I guess. But we can see the stock pulled back very orderly to this upward trending 10-day simple moving average. And from there, you would anticipate a base breakout. However, it is overbought. So certainly other names that could be a bit more compelling over the near term. Let's take a look at a company that came out with earnings and sales today, and their revenues were 600% revenue growth. This is Blink Charging Company, BLNK, and we can see that it's in the throes of reversing this downtrend. Big volume on today's 12% gap up. Another name that we can take a look at very quickly is ALB, and this particular company produces a third of the world's lithium supply, and this lithium is needed for the batteries in these electric vehicles. We can see that we had this nice base breakout here. This was last week on earnings, 25% above estimates. So a nice way to end our view here of electric vehicles. We're going to take a brief break, and when we get back, lots more to cover. Hi, this is Mary Ellen McGonagle, author of the MEM Edge Report. In my bi-weekly report, I highlight top growth stocks as they enter buy zones, and I educate subscribers on why that stock is attractive both technically and fundamentally. In addition, you'll be alerted to when it's time to exit that stock based on negative technical action. And this bi-weekly report gives you confidence by providing fundamental insights into why an area of the market is strong and which companies within that strong area have the best growth profiles that'll help propel that stock higher. Subscribers to the MEM Edge Report are benefiting from my expertise in uncovering top performing growth stocks. Subscribe now to take advantage of my special trial offer. And we are back. I am going to start this second half here with taking a look at a stock that is in two of the areas I mentioned that we would be reviewing: semiconductors and the metaverse. And before we get any further, I thought I would just give a brief explanation for those not familiar with the metaverse. It is going to be, and certainly far along in its development, but it is a fully immersive online world, computer generated, very much looks very similar to reality. And there are some gaming companies that are already using this metaverse technology, and they are being met with really great response, certainly with younger gamers. And then there is talk that certainly NVIDIA did come out today and suggest that the metaverse universe will be larger than our actual universe. So I'm not sure how much of that is hype, but there really is a lot of talk. It is a way to potentially watch concerts in unison, engage, just very, very, has a lot of people quite excited. Facebook certainly will take a look at that and see what they're up to there as well. So NVIDIA, we can see this nice uptick here. This company did, let's see, Facebook did come out when they announced their new focus on this metaverse. They are actually, Facebook will be changing their ticker symbol. NVIDIA was cited as one of the main chip suppliers. So it is their semiconductor chips are expected to power this metaverse, but also NVIDIA has their own metaverse platform called Omniverse. So they are viewed as being very much at the forefront of this whole new way, if you will, of experiencing the universe. And we can see the stock has been in a very nice uptrend. It's pulling back a bit, and that certainly would be in line given the very extensive move the stock has had. We can see it's overbought here on the RSI, and the MACD really up here, and area where there's not a whole lot on the way of upside. But when you're looking at these charts and you really want to, particularly with this new metaverse concept, take a look at those longer term. This is a weekly view of NVIDIA, and just take a look, because you can see these stocks do have the ability to have these extensive upward moves. But here again, on the weekly, we can see that we are a little bit getting into that overbought area, but certainly for some other names. So let's go ahead and move on. Take a look at some of these other companies that are here at the forefront. Unity Software, U is the ticker symbol here. And we can see that in line with other stocks in this universe, that it's really been pushed into this very significant uptrend. So from here, there are a couple of areas that I do want to go ahead and point out to you as it relates to this really pronounced uptrend here. One is, it's not really easy to see with my presentation, but if you go ahead on StockCharts, take a look, you'll see this volume cluster here is really exceptional, well above anything we've seen in the recent past. We do have an RSI that is overbought and that MACD trending up here. But one other area and item I'm going to share with you that I like to do when I see these stocks enter into these rather explosive uptrends is take a look and put a 5-day simple moving average, and that then becomes your area of support if you are looking for an entry point. Unity is a gaming software gaming creator, and they do have 3D videos and are really, again, another one at the forefront. RBLX came out with earnings this week, and this is really currently utilizing that metaverse concept with their gaming. They have 43 million daily active users, and the company came out in 2020, and they were the first to do a digital concert that was really very widely embraced. And so let's take a look at the chart on Roblox, forgive me. And certainly for those of you with younger children at home, or even if you are into gaming, you will be well aware of this particular company. We can see on their earnings this week, the stock gapped up and broke out of this space. And when you see this kind of gap up base breakout on earnings, it can really be quite constructive. We did see it pulled back with the markets, but certainly not for the faint of heart. It was up about 18% on this gap up, pulled back about 10, up 9 today. So you are going to get a little bounciness there, but net that we can see that the outside momentum indicators are quite constructive for RBLX. It could be the beginning of quite a bit more as it relates to, again, the kind of engagement that we're seeing in this 3D metaverse universe. Let's go ahead and I'm going to share with you some names that you might not initially put together with Metaverse, but this is Amazon, and the company is in the talks. It's not anything quite yet, but they do have a digital CEO who is, it is his role to create an Amazon mall that is supposed to be very immersive and engaging. But if we look at Amazon's chart, it has been a bit wobbly. This is that growth pullback that we saw, found support at this upward trending 10-day simple moving average. Your outside momentum indicators are positive. Let's take a look at another company at the forefront of the metaverse universe, and this is Shopify, SHOP. And many of you may be familiar with the company. I can tell you with my MEM Edge report last year, the stock was up 212% before we removed it. It is an online software, online store company that allows retailers to sell their goods online, super widely popular. They also offer payment options, inventory abilities. They really are the one-stop area if you are looking to sell retail. They do work with some of the largest retailers, well known as well. So let's take a look at this move. It was up 12% today. And the company is Metaverse related because they are at the forefront with this Metaverse economy. They just announced the ability for shops to sell NFTs, and then also as it relates to virtual stores. So let's take a look at the volume here on this move today. It also pushed the stock out of a base. So a little bit sloppy as it relates to historical precedent, but certainly worth noting as it relates to the excitement and the movement in some of these stocks around this. One last name that I will share with you, and they do provide 3D software for architects. They've been doing this for quite some time. This is Autodesk, ADSK. See if I can smooth this out a little bit here with this more orderly display, if you will. So the company did gap down here on earnings back here, but since then has recovered quite nicely, reversed this downtrend, finding support at these upward trending shorter term moving averages as it comes back to potentially reclaiming its prior high. So let's go ahead, because I do have some time left here, and I did mention to you that we would take a look at semiconductor stocks. So what I want to go ahead and do from here is share with you using StockCharts.com. Subscribers to my MEM Edge report will know all about these semiconductors because we have had them on our list, and I am not seeing the ability. Let's go ahead and sector summary, of course. Here we are. So here we are with the 11 sectors, and I'm going to go ahead into technology and then share with you semiconductors. So let's go ahead and just take a quick look here at the 1 week view on semis. Not terribly impressive, but the 1 month view will give you certainly a better picture. So we can see that the group overall has really exploded of late, but I want to make sure that you know it's not too late. A lot of times people will see that and be put off. There are a number of semiconductor, there are only 109 semiconductor companies. There's a large barrier to entry, but within that, there are 3 sub-industry groupings. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and quickly sort it by that scooter rating. And it really, I can see where it might be a little bit off-putting, but there are still some very sound companies that are a little bit earlier in their move. We can take a look at Lam Research, for instance, LRCX. This is a company that is in the equipment manufacturing space. And I'm going to pull up a little bit of a larger chart. This was another big winner with my MEM Edge report back here. Huge growth prospects. The company is due to report their earnings, I believe, next week. But what I did want to share with you more importantly on this daily chart is the stock is just now entering into a downtrend reversal with your outside momentum indicators heading upward. So if you are newer to this group, however, that said, the leadership names, and we can just go ahead back to that rating, that scooter rating, a lot of these leadership names, I tend to go traffic more in the larger names, but those that gapped up, this is MaxLinear, MXL, great numbers back, gapped up base breakout, but it just pulled back. So we could still see further upside there. And then some other names that I did want to go ahead and share with you is another company that came out. It's a well-known one. They just came out with their earnings recently, and it is QUALCOMM. Take a look, gap up and still in an uptrend. So keep an eye on this one. From here, I would go to that intraday chart for a little bit more guidance. In fact, I think I have a few more seconds left here and I can share that concept with you. I don't do this that often, but when you see those really big moves, you're going to periodically want to really drill down, because here's that gap up, and the stock, you want it to remain above the RSI in positive territory, MACD. So you're still in okay standing. just to really get a feel for that super near-term momentum as it relates to that stock. So I'm going to leave it at that. For those of you that haven't already, please use that link below. You can trial my bi-weekly MEM Edge report. I had 2 additional alert reports last week, and we're going to dig further into other areas that are rotating. And I want you to be aware of that, as well as stocks that can then take advantage of that rotation. Have a great weekend, and I will see you here again next Friday.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.